It's time to check in with Dr. Joe Schwarz. He's host of the Dr. Joe Show, Sundays at 3 here on CJAD 800, and director of the McGill Office for Science and Society. And Joe, I see the first headline today is, why is lithium so important to our life? And of course, the answer is because it's good for batteries.
It is.
Oh, there's more?
No, there's more.
Oh, okay.
There's more. You know, just about everything that has an upside has a downside as well. Today, of course, there's so much emphasis on electrifying our vehicles. And of course, we use cell phones, we use laptops, all of which require battery power. And you're not powering these with, the 9-volt dry cells. We're powering these with lithium batteries. And just to point out how important these are, 3 years ago, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was given to 3 researchers who developed lithium batteries. And of course, with the use of electric cars today, which require obviously large lithium batteries, there's a lot of talk about the environmental consequences, which, at first were forgotten because we're, talking about switching to electric cars from fossil fuel-powered cars. And obviously, when you burn gasoline, you release carbon dioxide gas. When you use an electric car, you don't produce any carbon dioxide gas, at least not by the car. However, when you are extracting lithium from the salt brines in Bolivia and in Chile and in Australia, that requires a great deal of energy. So, all of the equipment that is used, the trucks going back and forth, the gigantic shovels that are used, and the drying of the beds. These are large salt beds, and you have to evaporate the water to leave the lithium behind. That requires a great deal of energy. Now, of course, it turns out that it is still preferable to use electric vehicles, but we can't forget that there is an environmental consequence. And of course, there's also the problem of recycling. We are just inundated with electric devices that are right now ending up in landfills. And these are millions of tons. And we have to emphasize the recycling of this, because you can get back the lithium and the cobalt and the copper that is used. But of course, that requires labor. And so far, that labor has mostly been in Asia, where they get away, of course, with paying lower salaries. But then it has to be transported to Asia, which of course also requires the burning of fossil fuels when you're transporting all this with ships. So there are real problems that, have to be addressed. And furthermore, there are political issues here, because although, we in the West, in Western Europe and in Canada and the US, we are the biggest consumers of these products, we don't have the raw materials. We don't produce much lithium or cobalt or copper, which are needed by these. So there's a dark side to that too, because cobalt is produced in Africa these days, very often with questionable labor, including child labor. And it turns out also that most of the world's supply of these elements that we need are in China. So it's quite possible that, China is going to have us by the neck, because eventually they will be the world's largest supplier of these, of lithium and cobalt and copper. So there are some interesting issues here. And, we kind of tend to think that the electric car is, the ultimate answer. And we somehow forget about all the other issues that are raised. And there's also, the question of what to do with all of the mining waste that is produced when you extract all of these minerals. So, unfortunately, just about every topic, once you scratch the surface, becomes more interesting, and it also becomes more complicated.
Yeah.
And, in the history of science, what we see is that we are, of course, focused on solving a problem. That's what progress is, isn't it? Whether we're talking about developing drugs or agricultural chemicals, we are trying to solve an existing problem. But in almost all cases, the solution introduces another problem that you then have to solve, and you just hope that that second problem that is introduced is smaller than the first one that you're solving.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem with that. And I know people have brought this up. We all think we're great environmental warriors by driving electric, and you just highlighted the issues involved in powering those cars. It kind of makes you wonder, and I know we can't think that far into the future because who would have thought we'd be talking about this 50 years ago? But where's any clean source of energy that we're not going to look at and go, well, look, you may think it's clean, but here's what it involves, either mining or whatever. It's like, it seems to me the only way we're going to get anywhere is to just have the sun power everything.
Right. And we're working on that, actually. The solar panels, of course, are becoming more efficient. But to make the solar panels, you need silicon.
Oh, no.
And and you need lithium for that, too. So we have to get those from somewhere. And then, of course, there's hydrogen, which is the cleanest burning fuel because when it burns, it produces nothing but water. But we also have to produce the hydrogen. And the hydrogen economy is something that is being explored, how we can produce hydrogen cheaply. And one can do that with solar power. You just run electricity through water, and if you get the electricity from solar power, then you can produce hydrogen from the water, and that burns very clean. But
is there a but in there?
Well, the but is that then you have to have huge solar panels, and right now we're not equipped to do that. But hydrogen also occurs actually naturally deep within the earth. And they're exploring that. And that would be another form of natural gas. And that would be great if it could be brought to the surface in significant amounts. But right now, it's too deep, and we can't dig down far enough. But again, that's probably a technology that can be solved. Anyway, I just want to mention one other thing before I leave you today. Is, there's the Nuit Blanche that the City of Montreal organizes. And usually there's all kinds of events. And in the chemistry department here, we annually do hold an event in conjunction with the Nuit Blanche and invite people to come to see some really interesting chemical shows with bangs and flames, and including some lithium. And if you take metallic lithium, drop it in the water, boy, do you ever get an interesting experience. So anyway, that's this Saturday, and there's two shows in English at 6:30 and 8:30, and two shows in French at 7:30 and at 10.
And where is this?
It's in the Automass Chemistry Building, which is on the corner of Sherbrooke and University. And, of course, it's free.
Okay, well, that's fun. Okay, so those of you interested want to go there, maybe Dr. Joe will let you drop some lithium in some water, and good luck. Joe, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.